In this video, I'm going to help you guys to travel on even the smallest of budgets, and we're going to break it down into 5 different categories. And number 1, we're going to start out with transportation. We'll talk about how I book the cheapest flights possible and how I get really cheap rental cars and even how I save a lot on gas. Number 2, we're going to be talking about accommodation, where to stay, how I book the cheapest hotels, Airbnbs. We're also going to talk about hostels. And number 3, we're going to talk about activities. So basically, how do you do the most things, see the most things for the least amount of money, or even for free? The 4th thing we're going to be talking about is luggage and packing. With a lot of the cheap flights that I'm going to be showing you guys how I book, you don't get a lot of flexibility when it comes to bags or carry-ons. So we're going to teach you how to pack everything you need for a trip, whether it's a weekend or even an entire month or more, in just one backpack. And finally, number 5, how to prepare for emergencies. What's up? If you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm actually new to the channel too, don't tell anybody. So the first website we're gonna go to is called Google Flights. I'm gonna kind of walk you through my thought process when I try to find a cheap flight to pick where to travel. Now let's say we want to go somewhere outside of the US. Let's check Europe. Can't spell today. You just hit that search and it actually takes you to kind of a map view, and you can kind of see all the different cities that have kind of big flights. You can zoom in to get closer views. And you'll notice that this one is in green because it's the cheapest flight, and usually the cheaper good deals show up in a different color. And you see 676 hit view flights, gives you some more details. Now let's see if we can go to the calendar date and see if we can get a cheaper flight. So 676, and if we leave on the 23rd, you see that it says 601, and it tells you the prices for all trips leaving on the 23rd. You can kind of scroll through and see $601, that's cheaper than 676. We're already saving money. And here's one of the biggest tips. Look at nearby airports. So one of the closest big airports to me is Chicago. See, if we look at the same dates for Chicago, it's already down to $399. So we just knocked that price from $676 down to $399. And that's honestly one of the best ways to save money, is just be flexible where you're flying out of. So just by finding a nearby airport to travel from, we're saving over $250. That's $250 you can spend in Italy. So kind of taking that same idea of going from a nearby airport to get to the destination you want to, you can also do the same thing as to where you land. So the example that we're going to look at, let's say India. And we're just going to pick some random dates. A lot of people that I know that go to India always complain about the flights and the prices because it is really expensive. So we can see here that to go to Chennai is $1,303, right? And let's say you want to go to Bangalore, it's $1,167. So you're already saving. And if we apply some of the other things that we looked at earlier, go from Chicago and it's already $865. That's so crazy. We just saved $500. And look at different dates. You just leave one day earlier and you save another couple hundred, and it's $664. We just went from almost $1,400 ticket and we slashed it in half. So the next website I'm going to show you guys kind of combines all the steps that we just took in Google Flights and puts it all in one kind of algorithm. So it's called matrix.itasoftware.com. It is owned by Google now. We're going to look at flying out of Detroit, and this time let's look at the country Colombia. So we can, let's say Bogota, and see here you actually have the option of kind of choosing nearby airports. The one thing you can't do is pick from different countries when it comes to the departure. So we're going to click Detroit. Let's do Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and Chicago, and Milwaukee. You can also select all. And we're also going to do nearby in Bogota. Let's see what's there. We have Medellin, we have Cali. We could do even further and see what else there is. But let's just use those 3 for now. So you have the option to select the exact dates or see a calendar of lowest fares. We're trying to save money, so we're going to select the calendar of lowest fares. And let's say again, we're going to leave at the end of the semester, and we'll do, let's say 14 to 16 days, again for 2 weeks. So I always choose the cheapest fare available, no limit to the stops, no limit to the extra stops, and you just hit search. This website takes a little bit longer because it's kind of doing everything that we just did in Google Flights, which was looking at different areas to fly from, different areas to fly to, and combining the different potential dates. So you can see it did all of that, and we didn't even have to do anything, and see $316 round trip to go to Colombia and back. So you can kind of see it breaks down the different days that you chose. So if you want to do 15 nights, it's the cheapest by $3. Let's just say click on that and see what our option is. All right, now you can see it's $316 from Spirit. There's a lot of information on this website, so just take your time to read through everything. At the top, it kind of breaks down the prices based on different airlines, how many stops it has, and here the most important thing that we look at right now is price. So for $316, let's look at the details. Actually, you see that the cheapest flight isn't from Detroit, but it's from Pittsburgh, and it flies into Cali instead of Bogota. Now, inside South American countries, it's actually really cheap to just get an in-country flight. So if you book in advance, you can get a flight from Cali to Bogota for $30 or even less. So you're still going to be saving a lot of money. So basically, this website just kind of puts together everything that I do on Google Flights. It does the work for you of looking at nearby airports. It does the work for you of looking at airports that are nearby where you want to go to, and all the flexible dates, and it just kind of puts it all together in one page for you. So this is another good website to check out as well. So one of the other websites that I really like to use when traveling, especially inside of the country, is Skiplagged. So we're gonna look at this website for a minute. We're flying out of Detroit. Let's just say anywhere from June 1st to the 13th and hit search. So what Skiplagged does, you can see some of these have a Skiplagged rate tag on it. Basically, you can see here that it flies from Detroit to Washington, but then it also has a connecting flight that goes from Washington to Boston. So the actual flight that you're going to be booking is going to be from Detroit to Boston, but you have a layover in Washington, and basically you just don't get on your next flight. Now, this is a little bit riskier because if you do have a checked bag, it does end up at your final destination, but if you're just carrying really light, like I usually am with just a backpack or a carry-on, you can do this, get off in Washington, and just miss your flight. So those are kind of the three biggest websites that I personally like to use when booking flights, which is Google Flights, the ITA Matrix website, and Skiplagged. So the next thing we're going to talk about is car rentals. So for car rentals, let's just look at a generic website, Enterprise, and we're going to start in Detroit. We're going to say March 22nd to March 28th, just random day. Continue. And let's do vehicle sorted by price. This is the cheapest. So you're going to be paying about $353 for a week for a minivan, or $359 for an economy car. Now let's do the same thing with Hotwire. Hotwire.com is actually really great for hotels, and I'm going to be talking about that in my next video. But let's do Detroit, 322 to 28, and find a car. So basically, Hotwire goes through all of these different car rental websites, and it finds you the cheapest deal. So you can see you would be paying $353 or $359 even just for an economy car. Here you can get a midsize for $273. And let's say you wanted to get a minivan, kind of the same. You see through Thrifty is only $293, whereas you would have spent $353. So what HotRate does, it actually kind of puts together all of the different car rental websites, and it gives you really cheap prices. Another website that I like is rentalcars.com. The prices that, from what I've seen, seems to be pretty close to hotwire.com. Every now and then it can be a little bit cheaper or a little bit more expensive, but basically I just like to cover my bases. I go through every single site and see what's the cheapest. So see here, it's $272 for a Jeep style vehicle, $273. It's very close. But if you were to go directly to say Enterprise and try to get a Jeep, let's say a standard SUV is $451. or even a cheap SUV, compact SUV is $388, you're saving automatically at least $100 by going to these websites. So one of the other cool things that you might not even know that you have is an employee or student discount. So for example, we're going to go to umich.edu. So I'm a University of Michigan student on the Dearborn campus, and you can actually take advantage of this whether you're from Ann Arbor, Dearborn, or Flint. Go to the website, just search car rental. And you can see right away, you get 25% off on all Hertz rentals. Basically, you just click the link and use the code that they give you, and you automatically get 25% off. Another thing you can do is they have a contract with National or Enterprise. So you just select non-business use because we're just students. And let's do the same exact dates that we had before. March 22nd to the 28th. We'll just say 25 as the driver's age. And look at that, $294. Here, you're paying $359 for pretty much the exact same compact car. The next options are buses and trains. One good website, especially if you're traveling within the United States, is wanderoo.com. You can actually just say, let's say we're going from Detroit and we're going to go all the way to Los Angeles, California. Pick whatever return date, and kind of like Google Flights, you can see that it shows you the departure and return prices on the calendar. Basically, it breaks it down to you as far as whether it's by bus, which brand, the train, and you can just kind of go through and just pick which you'd like. It's actually really convenient to use, and if you get used to Google Flights, this is going to be a really easy website for you to use. If a flight to Los Angeles is too expensive and you have a little bit more time, you can take a bus for $145 to get to Los Angeles and back round trip. There is something else. Yes. So one of my favorite websites is Gas Buddy. It's also an app. So basically, you just put in the location you're in, and then you just put down find gas, and it actually, based on your locations, looks at all of the nearby prices that are reported, and it tells you this is the cheapest one in Detroit. One of the things I like about Gas Buddy is you can plan your trip. So if you go to that tab, basically you put in your start destination. We'll start in Detroit, and let's say we're going to end in San Antonio, Texas. And basically you can do round trip, and you can choose the car that you drive because it does calculate kind of the cost based on your fuel efficiency. So just put in which city you're coming from, which city you're going to, the vehicle information, and then you just hit calculate my trip. Once it calculates your trip, basically you can scroll down. It kind of breaks down which gas stations to stop at. It tells you what the prices are and exactly how many gallons you should fill up. So basically what it's doing is optimizing the route based on your vehicle's fuel efficiency, and it says, okay, fill up 9 gallons here for this much money, you fill up 11 here for this much, and basically the algorithm goes through and optimizes exactly how much to fill up where based on its prices, and it saves you a lot of money. And that's it for part 1. I know we covered a lot of information today, so if you have any questions, comment below with whatever questions you have. Please subscribe so you can stay updated to a lot more content that's coming that's going to help you save a ton of money. And if you like the tips, smash that like button.